right, so how do you add life to your years and years to your life? How do you get your vision in your life and you add life to the vision that you have? That's what we're talking about. So I'm going to do several things tonight. I usually do a vision workshop for each year. That's what this is, but let me tell you how I'm going to do it this year. It's going to be a little differently. So we're going to talk about vision really first of all, how to get a vision, how to achieve a vision, how to add things to it, how to stay on track with a vision as well. I'm going to go through hope, the aspects of hope, what hope actually is, how to use hope in your favor, and how to develop even more hope. Got it? We're going to go through 6 priorities that I want you to have in your life, that if you don't have this, something will break, something will fall apart, and it's almost like you're going on a road trip, and if you don't check certain things, like your oil and your air pressure on your tires, and you're going on a coast-to-coast road trip, something's going to happen. And so there's 6 priorities I want you to have in your life. I want you to write these down, be prepared when I get to those. Then I'm going to end this with what's coming up on the 4th of February, which is the makeover. And we'll have hundreds of you guys there, but it's going to be different this time, and I'm going to have to get you ready before you actually start it. Okay? It's going to be that difficult this time, and I want you to be excited about that, but you should be a little bit apprehensive. Okay? If you knew what was coming in such a great way, you'd be a little bit anxious to show up on the 4th, but I want you that way. It'll turn out better. Got it? So let's just start with vision. Everybody write vision down. Vision is your clear image for the future. That's what a vision is. Now, what's the most important part of that definition right there? Come on. There's an adjective. Say it.
Clear.
Clear. Well, actually, Richard's right. Your isn't, because it's actually possessive. It could be a vision, but it's somebody else's vision, or it's kind of mine, it's kind of theirs, and no one takes responsibility for it. It is your clear, what did I say? Sorry. Image. And the reason that it's the word image is because you have to use that word image to create another word, which is what? Imagination. It's your imagination that we have to get. Keep in mind, you cannot, I want you to write this down, you can't get anywhere that you haven't already been in your mind. Okay, when we're kids, write that down, you can't get anywhere where you have not already been in your mind. When we're kids, we use our imagination to be Superman. When I was 12, I jumped off the side of the garage with a umbrella because I just watched Mary Poppins. I could just imagine myself floating down. You couldn't get here tonight without your imagination, could you? I mean, you're thinking about in your head, well, when I get to yada, yada, yada highway, I'm going to take a left, or I'm going to get on the on-ramp. You're doing that in your imagination. Did you get that? And so the problem with it is when you're kids, it's okay to use your imagination. Somehow when we get to adults, it's like, no, we don't use our imagination anymore. But yes, you do. Use it constantly. If I actually asked you right now, how many doors do you have that lead to the outside in your house right now? You could, in your mind, go through your house and go, I got that door, I got this door. Ooh, wait, that door there. Because you're using what? Your imagination. You use it constantly. So let's just be honest. Let's just be straightforward. Imaginations are absolutely essential for life. You couldn't not live without it. You have to have your imagination. The problem with it is when we get past our youth, we don't use our imaginations in a creative, let me put, and I hate to burst my bubble on this, but a hopeful manner for the future. Got it? Like I can't use my imagination to where when I was a kid, I would pretend I was in a race car, yada, 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 and now that I'm an adult, I'm going to get off camera here, but I pretend I sit down and I'm in a Ferrari. What's it feel like to sit in a Ferrari? You ever sit in a Ferrari? By the way, it doesn't feel like this. It feels like you're sitting on the floor. But it's, a friend of mine had a Ferrari. It looked like this. I'm like, oh, it's so nice. And I got in it like this. Whoa! And then you get out of it, and I had to put both hands on the ground and get up like this. I'm like, I am never owning a Ferrari. But the point is, watch this, if you wanted to create a situation in your life, and we can talk materialistic stuff, but materialistic stuff is not where success is at. But if you wanted to create a situation where you would own a Ferrari, guess what you would really want to do? You would want to go sit in a Ferrari. You'd want to go smell a Ferrari. You'd want to go feel that leather, what that leather felt like, which is actually kind of nice. But you want to experience that. So what? You could use your what? Imagination to continue developing that vision. Does it make sense? That fever, that Ferrari fever or whatever. Yeah. So I like pickup trucks. I don't know why a Ferrari came out. But let's start with this. This is the story of James Ritty and John Patterson. James Ritty's the guy with the downward mustache. John Patterson's the guy with the upward mustache. But James Ritty actually owned, in 1871, opened a saloon. By 1878, he'd had, he wasn't there all the time. He had employees. And the employees, some of them were stealing. He'd catch them stealing, he'd fire them, but it was just a rampant thing because there was no money exchange machines, nothing like this. And he was on a ship one day, and there's a machine that actually on the ship registers how many times the repeller goes around in a circle. And he goes, I feel like I could create something like that to record how many actual transactions happen in my business so that I know how much money I should have at the end of the day so I can make sure people aren't stealing from me. And he worked with his cousin or his brother or something, and he was a mechanic, and they created the first cash register or something. People think it's the first cash register. So he made this with a vision. So it's all about vision, right? His vision was, I created this awesome machine. Business owners all over the world are going to want, actually his thing was, all business owners are going to want this so that people will keep themselves from getting taken from. So his vision was people will need this to keep from getting stolen from. Got it? That was his vision. And so he went about selling these things for, I think it was 75 to 100 bucks. Now keep in mind, that was 1800 and, so that was like, I don't know, it was 20 grand or something like that. It was a lot of money. But I think he sold 12 of them in like 9 years or something. It was very few of them. And he had this business model, and it went under, and he just went back to bartending and owning the saloon. And this other guy comes around, and he sees this machine, and he asks Ritty about it, and he finds out that he had a failed business model with it. The guy starts thinking on it, leaves it, goes, and he gets a vision different than the first guy. Now, the first guy's vision was very small. The first guy's vision was just keep people from stealing from you. The second guy's vision was every single person that has transactions of any kind at any business, anywhere in the world, needs to have a record so they always know, yes, so people aren't stealing with them, so that for accounting principles, for stocking principles, for inventory, for all of these things. Does it make sense? He had a much bigger vision. So what he did was, he said, hey, you know what? I'll give you, I forget what he gave, just pennies on the dollar for this patent. He bought the patent outright, and it was a good deal for him. He's like, listen, you can have this thing. Nobody even wants these. He says, I can't give them away. Buys the patent, starts a company, just a little bitty company, called National Cash Register, NCR. National Cash Register right now is a company that helps with 550 million transactions per day. And they also, National Cash Register as a company, in his lifetime, in James Ritty lifetime, don't quote me on this, I'll be completely wrong, but it's in the, I think millions of cash registers were sold in his lifetime. And the reason was just one reason. What was it? Say it. His vision. Now, let me drop it in your lap. If I was to live in your shoes for a little bit, I have a different vision of what life is, possibly than you, possibly because I'm around so many people who are fanatical with their health, because I've been around 28,000 patients in 20 years, and I've seen miracles happen and all the rest. So if you just put me, without talking to me about your situation, without talking to me about your hang-ups or the injured thing that you had a long time ago that you've never gotten over, or whatever else, just put me in your skin. Do you think I might have a different outcome than you, possibly? I think I probably would. I think I could probably live in your skin and overcome a lot of the things, and it's not a brag on, it's not about me. I'm just saying a different perspective, a different vision is oftentimes what it takes. Does it make sense? Here's another guy. Let me give you another example. There's the cash register. I always like showing a picture of it, by the way. That skinny guy right there is Henry Ford. Okay? Henry Ford went to work for Detroit Motor Corp. It was one of the first car companies. It may have been the first car company in the U.S. Don't quote me on that either. But they were going about the business of creating automobiles for the United States. In his first year of working there, they had not produced one vehicle for the entire United States, not one vehicle off the line. Henry Ford had a vision. his vision, which is why they hired him, he was excited, he was a younger guy, he was going nuts. He wanted he said there should be a car in front of every single house of every single family. And Detroit Motor Corp said, listen, you can't do that. There are families making, pennies a day, and these are only for people who are wealthy, who can afford it. And he said, nope, that's not my vision. He tried to work for them and make things happen for Detroit Motor Company until he finally realized his vision could not be held inside the four walls of that company, especially since he didn't lead it. So he left, he got funding, he started his own business, Henry Ford Motor Company, and his vision included the ability to make mass amounts of cars, and if you made so many, so fast, so easily, you could decrease the cost. And so what he did was, he had a vision for how to do that. And his vision looked like this. What is that? It's assembly line. He invented, supposedly, the assembly line. Why did he invent that? It's because he had a vision first, and he needed creativity to come underneath that. We're going to talk about steps, actions, and goals here in just a minute. But one of the things he needed is a solution to make them quick, easy, and cheaper, because he can make them so fast, which would decrease the cost. And guess what? By I forget what year it was he was in business, but there was 1.3 million Ford vehicles on the road shortly after that. So he achieved that vision. Why? In fact, Detroit Motor Company, guess what happened to them? He put them out of business. And it's because he had a vision. Did you get that? Okay? So when we talk about your vision, what is your vision for this year? Some of you guys get into the year here, and the vision is, I just want to do a little better than last year. I'd like to lose a little bit of weight. I want to feel good. I want to have a little more money in the bank, or maybe just save a little bit. I want to have better relationships. But oftentimes it's esoteric. What does feel a little better mean? I don't know. What does have better relationships mean? What does have more money in the bank mean? More money in the bank? But what is that? Is it $1? Is it 50 cents? The point I make is your vision. You may have some ideas rolling around in your head, but guess what that becomes? Esoteric puffs of fog that just go away and come back and go away and come back. And guess what happens to New Year's Eve on 2017? You look back and go, ooh, I'm not sure. I don't know. And guess what? If you live like 98% of Americans, you will have a life that goes like this, and if you draw back from it over about a 60, 70% or years, you'll see it actually do this. And the reason it does this is because you've been broken occasionally, you've been disappointed occasionally, you've had bad things happen, people died, people have had accidents, you've tried a couple times and you failed, and as a result of that, nobody wants to get their what up? I don't want to get my hopes up. And it's almost like if you do, you'll have friends around you, family, people that love you. Listen, hey, come on. Don't get what? Don't get your hopes up. People trying to protect you. And guess what? The people that are actually trying to protect you are actually keeping you up from getting, now it sounds weird, right? But listen, the reason that most people don't grow continually in their life is because your hope holds scars. I don't get my hopes up. When you were a kid, it was nothing to convince you that you could be president of the United States, right? When you were 4 or 5, you're like, I'm going to be president of the United States. By the time you get in high school or whatever else and you got like 2 C's on a report card, you're like, I couldn't be, that's not me, I'm not the president, right? I could make a really off-color joke on that, but I'm not going to do that. The point is, your hope can be damaged. I won't say damaged because it also rises again. But one of the things that you're going to have to do in 2017 is get a different definition of hope. Hope is something that really is, it is a substantive, it is a tangible, it is a real life thing. And I'm writing a book on hope right now, esoterically in my brain, and it's part of my things right now that I'm doing for this year. Allison, I think, is going to be helping me with that. But the name of the book is, and I already got it copyrighted, is Infectious Hope. And the reason is, if you walk into my presence and I am 100% sure, no matter hell or high water, that I'm going to achieve what I set out to achieve, and I all of a sudden, every time I turn around, I've achieved another one of my steps, one of my action things that I need to do, and you see these things coming to pass in my life, and I'm getting better and I'm getting stronger, and I get to my 50s and I'm better than I was in my 40s, and it's just everything keeps getting better, and I'm always excited about my life. If you just hang out with me a little bit, guess what happens to your hope? All the calluses and all the things, I hate to get my hopes up on that. Guess what happens when you get around me? Your hope starts to go, if he can do that, I don't know, maybe that's awesome, which is also why you have to be careful who you're hanging around. And not to say we shouldn't, come alongside people that are struggling, but if you look at the 5 people you hang around most, that is actually about the power of hope that you'll have, about the average of all of those. I like to hang around people who are achieving things on a world scale, literally. I had dinner with the most successful chiropractor in the history of the United States, most likely, this last weekend, who's just doing amazing things, and like cancer's falling off and crazy, wonderful things when you adjust. And so guess what that did for me? It was like, oh, I like this. This is good stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit. How do you get hope? Now I want you to write this down. Write hope. I want you to underline it, and I want you to put a colon, the 2 dots, okay? Hope. Underline it, put a colon. I want you to write the definition of hope. Hope is a positive imagination for the future. Hope is a positive imagination for the future. When you look at the Bible biblically, now some of you guys that are guests don't know this, but I pastored a church for a while, so you're going to get a little biblical stuff in here. I don't want to get too religious on you, but it's coming. Sorry, it's just me. But if you look at the Bible, anywhere in the Bible that it talks about imagination, it's usually negative. Their imaginations became vain. They talk about imagination when it comes to dread or fear. Imagination's usually used in a negative light. Anytime that imagination is used in a positive, like you're imagining things that are going to be awesome, next week's going to be great, or God's coming and He's going to do amazing things. The exact same word is used, but it's translated hope. And so biblically, literally the definition is a positive imagination for the future. Did you get that? That is actually what imagination is, or hope is. But we've changed that, haven't we? Anytime you use the word hope, anywhere in your life right now, I can almost bet you it's a flippant, throw it out there, almost like wish. You could use wish in the same thing. Hey, are you ready for a great day? I hope it's going to be one. But it doesn't mean you literally have an expectation that today's going to be a rocking day. I just kind of flow it out there. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, right? Hey, are you feeling great today? I saw everybody that had a virus in your house. Well, I hope I don't get it. Does that mean you have a positive expectation that you're not going to get it? No, you're just throwing it flippantly out there. And the reason that that's bad is because the more you use it that way, the more that you decrease your ability to actually use hope as a power leverage in your life. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, this is exactly how you start to get hope to be regenerative in your life again. You start to heal it. And that's Habakkuk. I don't know if that's exactly how you say that, but that's how I say it. 2 and 3, and again, this is a different version, but it says, write the vision, make it plain on tablets. Now, this is before we had electronics, before we had computers or pens. You write it on tablets. You can write it anywhere you want, but I would suggest I would write it on things that I can see nonstop. A lot of times when I write some vision stuff down, I will put it when it's on the screen on my phone. If I ever turn my phone on, it's the first thing that pops up. In fact, a lot of times I'll hit the power button on my phone so it just pops up, but I won't open my phone just so I can read what's on there. Does it make sense? So it says, write the vision down, make it plain on tablets, so that he may run who reads it, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. Which means it's not when? Right here, a vision is when? It's coming up. Now this is important here. This is the word, and it's living and active. It says, if it hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. There's an old adage, the best things in life you have to what? Wait for. The best things in life you wait for. The what? The pretty good thing. No. The best things in life are worth waiting for. Got it? If it seems slow, wait for it. And here's the thing. I want you to hope. Everybody look at me right in the eye. I'm very serious right now. I want you to hope for way more than you don't even think. It's not even possible. Certainly I couldn't do what he's thinking I need to hope for. But I'm talking about, and you can make this material if you want to, a house 5 times bigger than the one you live in, a bank account that is with 2 more zeros behind it, or 3. And again, I don't want to do all materialistic stuff, because success is not just materialistic. But just, I want you to have a vision so much bigger than what you have. And some of you guys might go, well, I mean, come on, what's real here? But it's only as real as you think it is. It's only as real as you want to hold on to it. And I want to stop on this just for a second. Let me hit pause on this, put a pin in there. I'm going to walk away from this just for a second, okay? Because as soon as I start getting about hope and I start putting these in here, people start talking about faith. Let me just discuss the difference between faith and hope. Can I do that quickly here? Just 120 seconds. Hope and faith. Hebrews 11 says that faith is the substance of things what? Hoped for. It's the substance of things hoped for. Really what it is, if you look through the definition, if you think about it logically, hope, being a positive imagination for the future, is awesome. I can imagine that I'm going to be extremely fit and extremely healthy and all my joints feeling good. And that's my vision right here, okay? Now, if I hurt myself in the gym, and I do that occasionally, right? And every time I bend my knee, it hurts and cracks, it could be a witness against me that that's not the case. Did you see that? The grip that I hold on to that with, even when nothing else supports that, is faith. But it's hope is the vision of the thing that I'm wanting. Does that make sense? Faith is the grip that you hold on to it with, right? It says it's impossible to please God without faith, right? Well, faith is just holding on to the thing that God said that you're supposed to be doing or having or whatever else. Does that make sense? So faith is very important as well. But if you have faith but you don't have hope, that's what the world's trying to grab, just so you know. They don't want you to hope for any better than what you have. Don't hope that you're going to be living to 100. Don't hope that you'll be financially solvent and do amazing. Don't hope that you'll be happy, have great relationships. Don't hope that your marriage is going to be awesome your whole life. Don't hope that your kids are going to turn out awesome. Because watch, you have faith. If you don't have something to put your faith in, it doesn't matter what your hope is. If you don't have, in fact, if you don't have hope, it doesn't matter if you have faith, and vice versa. Got it? I hate to be divergent on just kind of head off on a tangent, but do you see why it's important to know that? But let's go back to vision. Let's start with the first one. What does that first 3 words say? Write the vision down, right? So now take a step here, and I want you to write the vision down. And I want you to circle it about 10 times. Write the vision down, circle it 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? Unless you're on your phone, I have no idea how you would circle it. Maybe bold, cap, italicize, underline. But I want you to circle about 10 times. And the reason that's important is because I want to have more money this year. Well, what does that look like? I want to be healthier this year. What's that look like? It says write the vision down and make it plain, make it clear. That's what you need to do. So what you're going to do is, what does writing the vision down, what does making it clear mean? It means that if I'm going to be leaner, what does that look like? I'm going to write the exact body fat that I want down, the exact weight that I want. I might even measure my bicep and my waist. I was a almost 35 waistband 2 falls ago, and I'm at a 32 now. But I can tell you, I wrote 32 on my vision board last January, and by late spring, I was there. Some of you guys know I lost 18 pounds in that first 3 months of last year. It's because I knew exactly how many pounds I wanted to lose. I knew exactly the waist size I wanted to have. Period. Does it make sense? Everybody with me? So what else did I write down? I wrote down a clear vision for my marriage. What does a good marriage look like to you? Or relationships, you don't have to be married. But for me, that relationship was the first one that I wrote down. A good marriage to me looked like my wife feeling secure and that she felt pursued. And I know what that looks like in her, so she laughs when she feels pursued and she feels secure. She laughs a lot. And if she doesn't, then if I actually go through a week and I haven't heard her laugh a couple times, then it needs to be on my radar. My wife doesn't feel secure, and she's not doing very well, and she doesn't feel pursued. Does it make sense? Which means I'll do what? I need to put action steps together so that I create that. Does it make sense? So if I want to have a 32 waist, what do I do to create a 32 waist? Well, I'm going to have these steps. Are you going to solve? So guess what you're going to do? You're going to write this vision down in all those areas that you want. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write vision areas. You can put realm, you can put specifics, those things. And then you're going to put actions behind it. Okay, so you're going to put, remember, under vision, I want you to write number 1 and then put goal. Okay, what's the goal? It's actually a metric. Waist size, a weight, something like this. Relationship, what does it exactly look like? Okay, whatever that is. So that's the goal. Okay, now underneath that, the second thing is going to be actions. So what are my actions to get that? I'm working out. I am changing my diet. I'm doing whatever else. Got it? Now, what is a step? So on the third one, number 3 is a step. This is Rockefeller Habits. Guys, listen, this would cost you about $2,000 to have this, because I've spent probably somewhere in around $80,000 through life coaches, through those things, through workshops to get. I spent 7 years in cognitive psychology. I'm giving you $1 million check. You just have to make sure you take it, okay? So first one's goals, second one's steps or actions, third one's is steps. What does a step look like? A step is this very, 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 did I say very? Very specific point towards your goal. Got it? So a step is related to that action. Okay, the action is I'm going to work out. The step is I'm going to get up at 4:30. I'm going to get up, get dressed, do all the things I need to do, and then I'm going to get to the gym by 4:50. And then I'm going to work out from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's my personal step. I do that 5 days a week, right? Now, I had to change my perspective. Raise your hand if you're not a morning person. That's a bad affirmation right there. Don't raise your hand. You are not a morning person. You are a morning. Here's the thing. I used to not be a morning person. I just could not get up. In fact, Kimberly would ask me, she's like, why don't you just get up before work? I'm like, baby, I can't go and adjust 200 people and have to get up that early. I physically cannot do that. And I had convinced myself I don't think it's healthy. I think I'd get sick. I think my joints would wear out, right? I had about 10 different reasons why I convinced myself, and I'm a doctor, because I'll tell you the physiology. This is exactly why I can't do this, and I'll prove it to you. By the way, don't ever get in an argument with me. My wife says I'm an immovable object. But the point is, I had convinced myself. Well, guess what? When everything had fallen in every option and there was nothing else, and I started to do it, it was hard. It took me a while to be honest with you, I've never once liked getting up that early. But I've never regretted it. And so guess what? Guess what I am now? Morning person. I rock mornings. I am a morning person. In fact, by the time you see me in the morning for a first adjustment at 7:30, it's like I've been up for 5 hours. I'm like, whoo, this is awesome. Like this, and you guys are like this. Right? But I'm a morning person now. Now, what is it in your life that you've been telling you that you shouldn't or can't or won't do? And you have to start asking you that. Now, so the step is what? The specific towards what the action is, towards what the goal is. And I'm going to hit that here in a second. Let's look at this one. About write this down. Proverbs 29:18. Without vision, people perish. Now, this is important for your vision, and the reason it's important is this. Your vision is going to keep you on track. It's not just so that you get what you want. It's not just about that. Because who knows here, it's not the goals that you achieve, it's who you become on the way to your goals. Did you get that? Because here's the deal. The reason it says without vision, people perish, and actually, if you look at the translation, it's actually not perish. It means perish, but it says without vision, people run around without constraint. That's actually the actual translation of the Bible right there. What it means is this. I have all these great things I want to do for 2017, and I get on into my 2017, and I look over here, I'm like, ooh, man, that looks really good. And I go, and I get over here, and I hit some stumbles and whatever here, but then I look this way, and I go, oh, man, that looks awesome. And I get over here, and oh, man, did you see that? And I spend my time oscillating between things that I want over here and over here and over here, or this business coach, or that business thing, or this downline business, or that thing over here, and then guess what ends up happening? Nothing happens. You do not get anywhere. You run around without constraint. The constraint, here's the thing, we live in an Americanized society where Heaven forbid anybody puts any constraints on you. We like freedom. I don't want to be held back at all. That's why so many people end in divorce. But what you really want is success and peace and security and all of those things. You know how you get that? You take a path. First of all, you get very clear, this is what I'm to be doing. I suggest that takes some prayer. And then you focus on that vision and you stay right on that vision. No matter if you hit obstacles, no matter if you have somebody that comes up with this new wonderful thing over here, you set that vision and then you lock in on it. And then no matter what, you just go for it. And then when you hit certain areas where you don't think you've got the cojones or the talents to be able to achieve that, guess what? You stay there and you do this until either God brings somebody to help you through it or he makes you strong enough to get up over it. Does that make sense? And then when I stand up on this side of it, I'm proud of who not just what I achieved, but who I've become in achieving what I've gotten to at that point. Does it make sense? People perish without visions because people run around without constraints. Raise your hand and say, I'm okay with constraints. You know what's a constraint? Watch this. February 4th, I'm going to start you on a different way of eating. I'm not going to call it a diet, a different way of eating. And guess what? You're going to have some constraints because as soon as you say yes and you commit to that, someone's going to go, hey, babe, hey, why don't we go out to Cheesecake Factory? And you're going to go, oh. Or watch this, you're going to go on a date night or you're going to go on a movie night with your friends and you're going to get to the movie and you're like, let's just go for a movie. Not a big deal. You're totally good. But you get there and you go, oh my God, the popcorn. Constraint. But you know what? Guess what feels better than the popcorn tastes? Guess what feels better than the cheesecake experience? You know what it is? I can tell you. No. It's not my vision. It's yours. It's what getting to a point of not even achieving the vision, but getting somewhere along the way of success of it, right? It tastes better, I promise you, than anything that you could have along the way. I promise you. Kimberly and I were in debt so bad when we just got, we have $200,000 of loan debt each, opening a business, credit card debt, all the rest. And my wife had a vision for getting ourselves, number one, out of credit card debt. And man, we had to, guys, I'm talking about constraint. I was buying no clothes. We were eating, we actually at one point in time had friends give us food out of the trunk of their car at church because we didn't have anything. So that surprises some of you guys. I told that story in tears on stage this last weekend in front of a couple thousand people. People were like, what? You did that? What? That was you? What? But you know what? That was a constraining thing. Could I have gotten a line of credit on a credit card? You bet. Did I have to eat like that? I could have done something and maybe just filed bankruptcy or something. But guess what? Guess what tastes better than the relief in that little short amount of time right there? When I got that paid in full notice from that credit card company at this one and that one and this one. Do you hear me? And listen, it's not about just being out of debt. Again, it's not just about material things, but it's about achieving along the way and who you become. Got it? So, constraints. Constraints are okay. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question, and you may have to write this down and think about it. Okay? I don't think that you can answer this evening while we're here. The question is, what symptom in your life is being caused by lack of vision? And it really is. Depression generally is a lack of vision. Anxiety is a lack of vision. Fatigue oftentimes is a lack of vision. Now there's a lot of organic things that can cause a propensity for these things, but I've had the sickest people in the whole world be better than the people that were the worst with those symptoms, specifically because they had one thing. They had vision. And the reason that they didn't have the same symptoms as somebody else, the reason that they were doing better is for one thing. It's because of this. Their vision was clear. Now I want you to think about that. Look through those fingers right there. Do you see that? What do you see around the fingers? It's very blurry. Most people's vision for their life looks like everything on the outside of that. Okay? If you have a real clear vision, then what I'm actually doing is I'm living further down in time over there. And what it does is it makes right now, even though it's painful or I can't have the popcorn or whatever else, it makes right now okay because I'm so happy and excited about that over there. Does it make sense? Now that's so, I need about 3 hours to unpack that psychologically so you really, really, I feel like understand that. But can you just grasp that point? Case in point, my wife and I make a dream board every year. Do you guys ever do that? Vision board? I was going to put mine up here, but it's very private, so I didn't want to put mine up here. I also don't want you to think I'm all materialistic, and I put a lot of material things on there. But I put a lot of vision pictures and stuff on there that are things that just make me, that put a certain feeling on the inside of me, right? Vacations I've had with Kimberly and the kids, pictures of me holding my children, things like this, that put a feeling of the things that I want to create. And I've got this thing, and it's huge. And I live in that. I live in that, literally. It's on my phone, it's on my desktop, it's in my closet on the entire wall, and I will sit, close my closet door, and I'll sit, I mean, you'll find me in there 30 minutes. And do you know why? I'm living inside that. Living it. And do you know, we're only 16 days into that, and do you know that there's several things that have already come to pass that were on that? It is a powerful thing. And here's the crazy part. Life happens, yes or no? Yes. People die, bad things happen. And as much as I want to get sad and I want to get upset, I could even get depressed, I can go back and look at that and I'm living over there and man, it's good, it's good. And you can't budge me. And again, this is it. So you heard me tell us 3 things: steps, actions, and goals. Now when you start doing steps, this is what it is. Let's go back to the example of working out, okay? My goal is going to be have a 32 waist. I'm going to be certain leanness. My actions with that is going to be changing my diet and doing workouts. My steps to that, one of those is going to be getting up and going to work out before work, okay? So when I get up and go work out, and I go do a hard workout, and I got through the workout, and I did good in it, whether I did good or bad, I still went up, I still worked out. Like I said, I've never regretted it. It feels good accomplishing something, right? That feeling good gives you something that is very powerful here. What is that word? Red. Hope. Now, what do we say hope was? It's the hope is the thing you're imagining, and faith is the grip on it. It's the positive imagination of the future. So if I see if I'm working out, then I can actually see myself achieving this more. Do you see that? And watch this. Now I know that I'm doing that. Now let's say that I had a 38 waist, right? And I went to 37. And I've achieved, my goal is I'm going to get to 37, and then I'm going to get to 36, I'm going to get to 35. If I want to get down to 32, I'm like this. As soon as I see my first goal to getting over here come to pass, what happens to my hope? Goes up. You ever went on a diet to lose weight, and you lost a pound or two and a pound and two? The first week that you don't lose any weight whatsoever in a whole week, what happens? Sad. What's another one? Starts with a D. Depressed. Another one starts with a D. Defeated. How about another one? Say it. Discouraged. Right? Now, what does discouraged mean? It means that I don't have the courage. Discouraged means I'm taking courage out of myself. Courage is the ability to run into a fight, right? And so what happens to hope is your imagination, your vision of you expecting yourself to be doing great over here and lose weight, you don't have that now because you didn't see yourself achieve it. But when you did achieve, guess what? I've got this hope on the inside of me. Make sense? Why is it important that you set small, tiny, achievable steps, actions, and goals? Keep your hope up. What if the first step, action, and goal that I made was to make $1 million and pay off all the debt that I have?
Don't be discouraged.
Now listen, it's achievable, but I don't think that I've got the personal cojones to be able to have the faith to hold on to that long enough to not get discouraged and stop getting there along the way. So what I might do, if that was the goal, is say, hey, I'd like to make $100 this week. You know what I mean? Or save $100. Sometimes it's hard to save $100, right? Do you see where I'm going with this? Right? That's the difference, which is why in your notes you need to write when it comes to goals, actions, and steps, that 1, 2, 3, they need to be small, achievable. And they also need to start having dates on it so there's responsibility and a time frame. Got it? Okay. Now, next. How do you keep this up? And the reason that you can do this is because of what Proverbs 13:12 says. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. That's when you stopped losing weight on your diet the first week, and it made your heart sick. And the Bible also says that protect your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows all the issues of life. But here it says, but a longing fulfilled, or a hope fulfilled, or a goal that you said you were going to do fulfilled, is a tree of life. And basically that picture there is, a tree is protection, a tree is shade, it produces fruit, it gives you things that you need. It's a tree of life, and the reason it's important is because a tree of life is alive, right? And so it keeps on giving year in and year out. Does it make sense? So having a hope that comes to pass, right, through your goals, constantly with those small little values, steps, and actions, right, to goals, is how you maintain this thing long term. Who would like to, without a shadow of a doubt, raise your hand, without a shadow of a doubt, in 2017, 100% with consistent, continuous improvement from right here? Make small steps, actions, and goals with dates. And I know this sounds like something you learned in high school, but it's just that simple. Got it? But what you have to do is you have to go through every area of your life that you want to achieve those things. Now, who here has set a goal before and has had life come in the way? Yeah, everybody should raise your hand. I'm not sure I'm strong enough to talk about it, but a friend of mine died yesterday. Some of you guys know that. Our families vacation constantly together. You know, I love his kids. I hug on his kids. His wife is like my sister. You know, Dr. Charlie Majors, who wrote the Cancer Killer book. I give you specifics, but with time I'm not going to get into it. I've been in a really dark place, just being transparent with you. You know, him dying, he's younger than I am. He's got 4 kids. You know, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him in this last 6 months. We usually have a vacation together throughout the fall or the early spring. That's not going to happen. And I may be going to Chicago in the week for his memorial. And it is a hard thing to walk through this life when I want to give you guys everything that I have. And when you show up, I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be sad. You didn't come here to have to hug me and be in a bad place. You came, so I know it's okay, but you came so that you would, who here has just randomly, and you don't have to say it if you don't want to, but have just felt better because you just walked in the door here, right? Because it's just a positive place, right? That's not just a happenstance. That didn't just happen. We create that purposely here so that you get that. It's the thing that people don't know they're paying for in my office, and then you go to another office and go, ooh, yeah, I'm not sure about this office. And it's because it's something that we make happen here, okay? But one of the reasons that I could go adjust today is because there's an anchor that I have on my emotions. You are 3 parts. You are mind, your body, and your spirit. And that mind part is really your soul. The soul is mind, will, and emotions. Okay? Your spirit was brand new when you accepted Jesus Christ. Can't get any better, doesn't have to be renewed, doesn't have to get dunked again. It's 100% Jesus. Okay? Your mind, will, and emotions are the thing that draws you more towards the flesh or more towards the spirit. It's the middle thing. Got it? Now, your emotions can go all over the place. Right? When I first married Kimberly, I think she might have thought I was bipolar. I mean, I was happy one time and I was not happy another time. I was just all over the map. I felt like that a little bit just because I've been so sad, but one of the reasons that I'm just not despite myself and I can get to work and I can achieve my goals, my steps, my actions, I can keep moving on in my life, is because I have an anchor that actually holds my emotions in place. It doesn't take me to the left and the right and the left and right. It holds me in place so I can continue. What did I say? I had everybody raise your hand if you want to have 2017 continually in an upward point like this. How you do that is have a positive imagination for the future that tight grip, no matter what, is going to come to pass. When my friend died yesterday, the first thoughts that came in my mind, can I be transparent? You okay with that? My first thoughts in my mind were, He's younger than I am. He's done a lot of the same things that I've done. Right, I'm talking about. And he's gone, and he left his kids. And then the very next thing that came in my head was, what happened if I was gone? What would it be like if my wife walked into my closet and all my clothes are left there and my shoes that I was just wearing last week and has all my stuff and the same smell on my shirts and had to take care of getting rid of all that, and like I started doing what? I started what? Imagining, which is an exact, watch this. That is, as soon as I caught myself doing it, I went, wait a second here, right? Because that's not the imagine that I want to have here. So I had to take every thought captive. We talked about that, right? So I was like, no. And guess what I did? Because I've spent so much time in that dream board, in that vision, in that hope, in what I'm hoping in, I could instantly, as soon as I caught that, jump right back, go, no, this is what it feels like holding my children. This is what my wife looks like laughing. This is what our date night looks like with her dancing. This is what my children's face look like when I get them up on Thursday and Tuesday morning. This is what my life looks like. This is what I look like at 70. This is what I look like at 80. This is what I look like at 90. Like and I went right back to the vision. But if you're not regularly taking time to create that, guess what happens when you get on Facebook and you see bad things happen? Well, maybe we're having a downturn economy. What would happen if I lost my job? Man, if we couldn't make our house payments for 3 months, do you see what happens? You start going down a wrong path mentally, emotionally, and most importantly, imagine. And this is why most people never achieve great goals or get anywhere in their life that they build statues for people about. Because you are all over the map. You have to have a hope and imagination so strong that a concrete buster couldn't bust it up. Got it? Make sense? That's just an important one I thought you might want to know because of my week. Now, funny picture, comic relief. Who is your worst critic? You are. But what if you were your number one fan? What if everywhere you went, you were about to do something, you told yourself, dude, you can do this. You're really good at this. You were born for this. You're doing great. Keep it up. What if you heard that constantly? Would you do better in your day, you think? You would, wouldn't you? I made that slide and my wife goes, you are off your rocker.
That's pretty good, though.
Maybe I am. You guys think I have that radio in my ear and I'm always talking to the staff? Not always talking to the staff. You're right. I am good at this. This is awesome. We're doing great. That's why I keep it on my shoulder all the time. But I'm saying to you, if you catch yourself having some bad tapes running, and most of the time you won't know it. Most of us have at least 8 to 12 tapes we have running in the background all the time. One of my tapes was, my parents went through a bankruptcy when I was in junior high. We went from being a over middle income family doing fairly well. They had one of the number one real estate companies in Oklahoma. And you remember the 80s fallout with that. My parents lost their business and went into bankruptcy. And we didn't have enough money to buy shoes. I literally didn't have shoes to go to school. So I've had this hang up about not having enough money, not having enough, or not being able to provide for my family or my children. And so I had this tape running. You know, no matter what you do, there's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough. You're not going to have enough money to pay the bills. So guess what? There's a lot of times I didn't have enough money to pay the bills. I had to change the tape. And so you got to catch yourself and start becoming your number one fan. Got it? Write that down. Become your number one fan. Write it down. I love it. I should just leave that up there. I'm thinking about getting a tattoo. Okay. Now write this down. Here we go. The 6 F's. The 6 F's. This is your priority list. And when you start putting things down as far as your vision, you could be all over the map, which is why I'm going to give you a priority list, what to write. Now you don't have to have it exactly like this. This is the way that we put ours. I like F's. Actually, Dr. Ben Lerner kind of put that together first. But that's the 6 F's. Faith, family, fitness, finances, friends, and fun. And the fitness part of that, just so you know, guys, is the health part. I would have put health, but it didn't put health doesn't start with an H or with an F. So fantastic health. It was 2 words though, so I didn't know what to do. But watch this. Why is health ahead of finances? You don't have finances. How many people have you seen gone broke? What's the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States? Loss of health, medical bills. Yep. And so why would you put faith first? I think faith is first for me only because there's a lot of things that are all over the place, but that's one thing that I stand on. I can stand on that word of what God tells me because it is what it is. And if you don't have that, it's a hard time. So family has to be in there too. Now, why to put fun in there? Like, surely there's more important things than fun you could put on that list. But listen to me. If I actually went through a week with some of you guys, you are missing a major component in your life. I'm serious. There's actually studies that show if you're not actually laughing and having fun, you're developing disease. You need to figure out some fun. In fact, if it's not on your to-do list as far as a high priority to laugh watching a movie, to go have some fun doing something silly, then you need to go figure it out. Do you know what I did for that? I was not having enough fun. When I see 200 people a day and some people that are dying of cancer and people that are just bought into this medical model, taking 400 pills a month and all this other stuff, like I get depressed sometimes. You know, I've talked about that sometimes. I needed some fun. Guess what I did? I had my family buy me a longboard skateboard for Christmas. And you may think that's weird for a 40-something-year-old to be out skateboarding, but I smiled the entire time and laughed. I'm like, oh man, oh God, it is great. Like this, the whole way. And guess what? It seems to be working for me. And you know what? I go with Zach, and Zach and I go, and I'm going downhill. Now everything that has a pad is covered in a pad, just so you know, in case. I literally, except for my butt, and if they made a big butt pad like this, I would buy that too. But do they? Well, is it like the Charmin commercial? Get that thing like that. But that's the list. Did you get the list? Yes. Did you get the list? Okay, so that list is how you're going to start writing your vision. Got it? That's important. Okay, we're going to finish up here. Just as important to keep in mind, Philippians 2:4 says, "Not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." A lot of times people put together a Tony Robbins game plan to be successful. And I say Tony Robbins, that's a bad example, because actually part of his is actually service. But I should say just worldly success game plan. But it doesn't include serving other people. What do you think it feels like when I have some of the people that come in from the drug rehabilitation center who I take care of for free, and they're off of meds, their spine is better, they're losing weight, they're doing better. I didn't get any payment for that. In fact, it cost me a lot of money. Do you think it was worth it to me?
Yeah,
absolutely. When you guys come in as patients, and really if I was a good businessman, I would charge for everything that we did, right? And that would be like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for a care plan. I'd see maybe 20, 30 people a day instead of 200, but I'd make the same amount of money. And because we get the results, I have people flying from other parts of the world, and guess what? Maybe that would be good. Guess what would happen to me that way? I would wilt up. And so would you, anybody would. And you know why? Because there's not service involved. There's something that happens when you go, you know what, I'm doing this because I want to do this. I'm doing this because it serves the greater good. I'm doing this because it does something for me. Does it make sense? And I'm not talking about my bank account. You need to figure out what that is for you. And listen, some people think about soup kitchens. I'm not a soup kitchen person. I do not like going to a place and feeding people. Now, on times and things, I do that. And Christmas time, we go volunteer and do some stuff like this. But for a regular thing, that's not my thing. And you need to figure out what your thing is. Got it? So some of you are like, I'm going to go feed the poor. You're going to start doing it 6 months later and go, I don't think it's like feeding the poor. Like, you just need to find what that looks like for you. Got it? But don't leave it out. So write that down. Got it? Okay? You get it? Okay. Got to get it good. Now, let me talk about this. This next season with me, you're going to have to remind me how much you love me. Got it? Because I'm in a place where I'm going to get results for you guys that you've not expected for yourself. And the reason it was so important to start this season out with a vision workshop is because I want you to see something bigger so that you'll go harder than you think you should to achieve it. Okay? Let me give you some examples. Okay? Here's a lady who had 4 kids. She just decided after those kids that maybe this is just, you can't lose weight after you have 4 kids. She was very overweight. She tried everything, Sugar Busters and Weight Watchers and everything else. But she found a Maximized Living office and did exactly what I'm going to tell you to do on the 4th. But she worked her booty off. And she lost over 100 pounds. Do you think that it changed her life? Do you think she had to work hard? Do you think she needed some constraints? Oh, yeah. How about this one? 75 pounds in 6 months and off of over 400 pills a month. Do you think he paid for his Maximized Living care just being off of meds? Yeah. This guy, his husband and wife, they've lost 90 pounds together. Okay. How about this one? 80 pounds. Look at his pants. Looks like he stole those from somebody. 80 pounds. He wanted to have more time with his son, but he was so tired, he found himself sleeping on the couch. This guy's in his 30s. Sleeping on the couch, and, you know, that's just bad life. Now he's doing amazing. This is actually a friend of mine. He's a doctor, a chiropractor up in Colorado. That's 42 pounds. He's running now. Here's another guy, 45 pounds, truck driver. You think it's easier to drive, losing 45 pounds? Way easier to drive. How about this one, 59 pounds? That doesn't even look like the same lady, does it? Right? 44 pounds. And again, you see stuff like this, 108 pounds. This guy was broke down. He's still a young guy. And every time he'd work out, he would hurt a hip or a knee or something. And so he was just relegated. I can't do hard physical workouts. And guess what? He was wrong. He had convinced, just like I'm not a morning person. I convinced myself if I go hard, and then guess what? Something hurts, and you're like, see, there it is, right? And you've proved yourself right. But guess what? He found somebody that wasn't going to listen to his BS, and said, I don't care if it hurts, you're going to do it anyway. Because if you don't, then eventually you're just going to lose that joint. And so guess what? Pushed him through pain, pushed him through hurt, pushed him through uncomfortability, and guess what? Went through this, and that's what I'm going to do with you, and he's over 100 pounds down. Actually flew home to see his family. His sister walked right by him, didn't even know who it was. It's awesome. How about this one? 30 pounds. Both over 100 pounds. There's 40 pounds. Think it's easier to take care of a baby when you're 40 pounds less? When you're bigger than Santa Claus, when Santa Claus looks little. Yeah. How about this one? 225 pounds. And the reason he's in that chair right there is because he stayed there most of the time. Now, that's more than I weigh. If I climbed on your back right now, what would you do to get me off of you? But if you started getting used to me on you, and you convinced yourself that you really couldn't. How about this? 8 months. See a difference? That is spectacular. And a husband and wife. Here's the other thing. I don't care if you've been working out. Okay? I don't care if you've been doing other things. You're not ready for what I'm about to put you through. Okay? I need you to start doing some things to get your joints ready. Okay? So write this down. 3 things. Okay? First one is I want you to do 25 air squats a day. I don't care if you're working out right now and you're a marathoner and you're awesome. I want every single person to do 25 air squats. Air squats a day. Now, some of you guys are going to do air squats like this. Listen, I don't care. That's all you got. You got a knee that wants to give out, it's fine. In fact, have a chair behind you if you've got some bad joints or something, and just sit down on the chair and then come back up. Try to keep your chest high. You don't want to lean forward like this. You want to almost go straight down and then come up. Now, some of you guys will go down a lot further. Some of you guys will go way down. Got it? So you'll go all the way down and come back up. Now, you want to go down as far as you can. The reason I want you to start doing that and do 25 of them every single day is because I want you to get on getting further and further down with your chest and head up. The reason you're doing that is because I want your hips, knees, ankles, and low back flexibility with that to get better before the 4th. Got it? Got it? Now, this is what I want you to do. Who's got a timer? Who has a phone that has a timer on it? Anybody? Everybody? Okay. If you don't, I'm sorry. But this is for everybody else. It's a cheater. Tonight, write this down. I want you to set an alarm that will go off every single day at the same time so that you do your 25 air squats. Got it? How long does it take to do 25 air squats? Minute? Maybe a minute. Yeah, it doesn't take very long. So can you do that? Good. Next thing you're going to do is 25 push-ups. Now, some of you guys haven't done a push-up in 20 years. It may be if you have a shoulder issue, some kind of shoulder thing or something like this, or you just the strength's not there just yet, you're going to do it literally just on the wall. So you're going to do it like this, and you're going to do this. You can get closer. You can go down. It just depends on what your shoulders are capable of. Got it? But you're going to start with doing 25 push-ups, even if it's on the wall. Did you get that? Now, some of you guys can do push-ups on the ground. Some of you guys may do it from your knees. That's okay. Some of you guys may do a worm, and you warm up. I don't care how you do it. I want you to do 25 push-ups a day. Now, that may take a little longer, okay? Even if you have to cheat, I want you to get 25 a day. Got it? You got it? Everybody with me? Can you do that?
Yep.
Last thing, so that's the first one is the air squats, second one is the push-ups, third one is this. I want you to stretch out, okay? Now, what do I want you to stretch? Mostly I want you to stretch hips and hamstrings. You guys all sit, and when you sit, these things get really tight, okay? I was a runner forever, and they were tight, and so literally this is all I could do for the longest time, but I've been stretching 5 days a week. I can grab my toes now pretty easy, and I'm really proud of that, by the way. It's the first time in my life. Like, I couldn't do that to my 40s. So I want you to really get yourself ready. So what are the three things? What's the first one?
Squat. Push-up. Stretch up.
Good. The stretch comes after you're warmed up a little bit. Okay, so it's probably going to be afterwards. Got it? Okay, now I would like you to stretch. If you're going to do other exercises during this time, please do. Okay, walking, go to the gym, ride bike, swim, I don't care, do whatever. And the more you do, the more that's going to be easy when you hit the fourth. Got it? But those three things are non-negotiable. Can everybody do that with me? Now, the other thing, too, is every single person, whether you've been a patient for years, whether you've done detoxes with me, whether you've done those things, I want you to get your system ready because I'm going to get you so full of lactic acid that you're going to at least half a dozen times through this next month go, I don't think it's healthy for me to work out today. And you're going to convince yourself not to do it. And so I need you to get yourself metabolically ready, okay? That's going to be with this, okay? Now, some of you guys have done a Kickstart Cleanse with me before. It involves Max Greens, Perfect Plant Protein, vitamin D because it helps with actually collagen building because you're going to be breaking down stuff, yes or no, right? And then daily defense because I want your immune system not to go down when you're working out this hard. Got it? The detox system is going to be helping you because when you're sweating, and you're going to be sweating hard. Who here has ever worked out and you got sick from working out? Anybody? Am I the only one, really? Yeah, you work out so hard you get sick? When you get hot or you overdo it? Well, all of this is so that doesn't happen. And it's a 15-day Kickstart Cleanse. We have less than 3 weeks. So guess what? You should finish this before the 4th. Now, if you don't and you start and you've got a couple days left or something like this, it's fine. The reason I'm doing it now is because this talk was to get you ready, number 1, for 2017, and number 2, for this makeover. I want every single person as possible to do this. Got it? Now, let me talk about some of these products. Max Greens has got digestive enzyme in it. Okay? It's going to help get a lot of the inflammation, even if you don't have symptoms, that you have in your gut down. Okay? That's why with a lot of our cancer patients we do Max Greens. It's also got a lot of greens in it, a lot of enzymes that you need. It's going to help you start building a lot of your enzyme banks so that when you deplete that by working out and breaking muscle down, that you'll have what you need. The Perfect Plant Protein. It is a plant source. Now, you could do Perfect Protein. You don't have to do plant protein. Okay? I like the plant protein when you do the Kickstart Cleanse, because it's a little easier on the kidneys. I like the taste of the other better, just being clear. Now, they just reformulated it, and actually it's really good, but the protein is a pure source protein. It's pea protein along with some other, but it's really, really easy to digest. And when you start breaking down muscle and building it up, you want to have this first, before you start, you want to have this in the system.
Do you do one or the other then? Or both?
You can do either one. You don't have to do both. Huh? You can do bone broth too. It's just not part of what we're doing here, but you can also be doing that. Now, the vitamin D, everybody here, it's what time of the year? Winter. Yeah. You're not getting sunshine. You should be upping it anyway. You should already be taking this. If you're not, that's why guess what the giveaway for tickets is? Vitamin D. Why do we do that? It's because this time of year you need it. Daily defense, again, the turmeric and things in there, we got to pump you up. You need to make sure you're having that daily during this. And the detox system, you're going to take this in a 2-week period of time, and you're going to ramp it up. We scientifically put this together so you hit it perfectly, so you make sure you look at it. In fact, I'm going to show you right now. If you look, right here it says 2 capsules of cell detox, and then at the end, 2 capsules of body detox. This is day 1 through 3, okay? It's max greens and perfect plant protein for breakfast. Same thing for lunch, and then you have advanced plan dinner. Got it? So basically, you're giving your digestive tract time to ease up, which is going to help you with some of the inflammatory levels that you guys have so that your joints can take the pounding I'm going to put them through come the 4th. Got it? Okay? Now, if you'll watch this, okay, you go to this one, it says 2 capsules of cell here, 2 capsules of cell here. So guess how many body detox we're going to take at the end of the day? Say it. 4. This is day 4 through 6. Go through 7 through 9, and you've got 2, 2, and 2, and so you're going to take 6 body. Now, this is right here. I got 30 copies of this. Guess why I printed those off? So that every single person's got one. Okay? Now, and this stays the same. Okay? Now, do you notice this? What to expect every time? Why did I put that up there? Not because I want you to have a negative expectation. I want you to know it's coming, so when it comes, you don't go, I don't think I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know if this is... We know it's going to happen. You knew it was going to be there. It's going to be fine. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. And then day 10 through 12, we're going back down. So we ramp it up, and then we ramp it back down. So the last of it, 13 through 15, you're back down to 2 capsules and 2 capsules. You see that? And by the end of this thing, improved energy, weight loss, improved sleep. Now wait, I thought the weight loss starts on the 4th. No, it actually starts before the 4th because you got to get your body ready for what we're about to do. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to work out 7 days a week for 1 month. Watch this. If you push this hard with me in the month of February, do you think you might be stronger emotionally?
Absolutely.
Do you think you might be more able to push through some of the hardships that you're going to go through 2017? Yeah. Do you think you might have a better marriage and be more patient if you can push through some of the hardships that you're going to go through physically with me on February? Do you see that? That's what we're doing. Got it? All right, let's just pray it up. Bow your head. Father, we love you and praise you. Ask that you bless the information, God. Not just information, that's revelation, so that all the wives and the children who are wanting to keep their husbands and their daddies with them, that happens now. That spouses get to keep spouses, and parents get to keep children, and not because there was a lot of great information, but because there was action, and there were steps, and there was goals, and there was people with vision and understanding. And I ask, God, that the vision you've given me for this community with children not on medications and families healthy and not having symptoms or living a medical life, that's exactly what's created here, not because of my voice or just a strong vision on the inside of me, but because it gets on the inside of everybody. And so, God, I just ask that vision is coming to life for everybody here, that you help every single person here develop their own vision, that they serve the purpose that you've given them in their lives. And because they showed up today, God, that you bless them in every single place that's possible. So, Father, we just love you and praise you. Ask that you bless tonight, bless every single person here in Jesus' name. Amen.